Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're laser focused on understanding Koshinage, the hip throw techniques in Aikido.
Right.
And to get right to the core of it, we're plunging into the manual Takemusu Aiki Koshinage by the renowned Morihiro Saito Sensei.
Exactly. And, for you, our listener who wants to gain knowledge quickly and thoroughly without feeling, well, bogged down, this is really a targeted exploration.
hmm
We're basically extracting the fundamental principles of Koshinage, just as a master practitioner laid them out.
Precisely. Our primary source is direct material from this technical manual. Think of it as a detailed guide. It's packed with text and photo sequences that show exactly how these throws are done.
Yeah, those photos are key.
They really are. This manual, its whole aim is to create a strong base for performing these techniques correctly. So our mission today is pretty straightforward. Distill the most valuable insights into Koshinage from this specific Aikido resource just for you.
Okay, so let's maybe unpack the background of this manual a little.
Good idea.
Takemusu Aiki Koshinage. It's identified as the second in a series of technical manuals from Aiki Ainu WS, and it's copyrighted in 1981.
Right, 1981. That gives us a time frame, doesn't it, for its creation and its original purpose.
Yeah. And the author is absolutely key here, Morihiro Saito Sensei. He held an 8th Dan in Aikido, which is, well, a very high level of expertise.
Extremely high.
And maybe even more significant, he had this exceptionally close relationship with the founder of Aikido himself.
That connection really underscores the depth, the authenticity of the knowledge in this manual.
It really does. And what's fascinating is the purpose Saito Sensei outlines right in the preface. He intended this manual as an introduction to vital Aikido techniques, basically capturing his own mastery in a tangible form.
Like bottling lightning, almost.
Sort of.
Ah.
And it's brought to life through this remarkable collection of photographs. They were taken in Iwama, Japan throughout the 1970s and early 1980s.
Oh, wow.
We even know the name of his uke. That's the person receiving the technique.
Right, the uke.
Jason Yim. He appears in these demonstrations. It really grounds it, in a specific time and place.
It really does. And here's where it gets, well, particularly interesting from a historical perspective. The manual apparently had a very small initial print run. We're talking maybe only 200 to 300 copies because of limited funding.
Wow. Really? That few?
Yeah. So that makes it a relatively rare document. The fact that we can even delve into it now, thanks to this PDF ebook version made from high-res scans, that's actually quite significant for anyone interested in, the finer points of Aikido history and technique.
Absolutely. That rarity sort of underscores a key insight, doesn't it? That valuable knowledge, especially in these niche areas, isn't always just out there. It takes deliberate effort to preserve and share it.
It speaks volumes about dedication, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's important to note the specific focus here. This manual concentrates purely on Koshinage hip throw techniques. It details 26 different forms and even mentions earlier variations. And the preface is very clear. It's intended to support direct instruction, not replace it.
Which makes perfect sense for a martial art, right? You need that practical hands-on experience.
Exactly. You can't just read your way to a good hip throw.
Okay, so with that background established, let's maybe examine the general principles of Koshinage that we can sort of infer just from how the techniques are structured in the manual itself.
Right. One of the first things you notice is the consistency in structure. Each Koshinage variation is presented with numbered steps.
Step 1, step 2.
Precisely. And these steps are then illustrated with accompanying photographs. This structured approach, it suggests a very methodical, a very precise way of understanding and performing the techniques.
And here's a really key takeaway, I think. Every single Koshinage variation listed in the index, it concludes with the exact same instruction. 3, throw them over your hips.
That's a simple phrase.
It's so concise, but it really drives home the fundamental principle of these throws, doesn't it? The action of lifting and leveraging, all centered around the hips.
It really does. That seemingly simple instruction, it underscores a core insight. The hip isn't just like a pivot point. It's the engine of the throw.
Right.
It requires the entire body to be coordinated around it for, effective power transfer. It's a good reminder that even complex movements often boil down to a central, fundamental action.
Absolutely. That third step, while it's worded briefly, it really encapsulates the whole objective.
But what comes before it is critical.
Yes.
The initial steps in each technique consistently emphasize the importance of, well, stepping and positioning your body relative to your opponent.
So before you even think about the throw.
Exactly. You need to establish the correct foundation and relationship with your partner or opponent.
And we also see the significant role of hand and arm movements in those initial steps. They aren't just passively holding on, they're actively, controlling and guiding the opponent,
Setting them up.
setting them up for the eventual throw. It's about creating the right kind of off balance and influencing their center of gravity.
Creating off balance isn't just about pushing, is it? It's more subtle.
Much more subtle. It's about shifting their weight just beyond their stable base, making them vulnerable to the throw.
And we can't overlook the visual aspect here. The manual explicitly states that the photos are there to help bridge the gap between the text's explanations.
Which is crucial in something like Aikido.
Totally. In a dynamic art, a written description can only convey so much. The visual sequences provide critical info about body angles, posture, the flow of movement.
So for you, our listener, who appreciates efficient learning, notice how Saito Sensei structures each technique, clear steps, visuals. It's a powerful model for breaking down complex information, really in any field.
Yeah, it's very methodical.
Right. So we see this structured, step-by-step method. The consistent focus on the hip is the central point, the vital role of body positioning and hand control, all reinforced by visual aids. Now, maybe let's dive into some specific Koshinage variations to see these principles actually in practice.
Sounds good. So having set the context and pulled out some overarching principles from the structure,
Yeah.
let's look at specific examples, see how these ideas manifest differently.
Okay.
The inbox gives us a clear list. Let's maybe start with Ryokudodori Koshinage. That's a grab of both shoulders.
Okay, Ryokudodori, both shoulders grab.
And we see the crucial role of this initial positioning very clearly here.
Right. So for Ryokudodori Koshinage, the manual outlines these initial steps. 1, when your opponent comes to grasp your shoulders with both of his hands. Okay, makes sense. 2, step between his legs with your left foot, making sure to use your left hand to guard against a kick and grasp his right wrist from below with your right hand. Then, of course, step 3.
3, throw him over your hips.
Right.
What's particularly interesting here, I think, is the immediate response to that double shoulder grab.
Yeah.
That instruction to step between the opponent's legs with the left foot, that's crucial for disrupting their balance and establishing your own strong base for the throw.
Getting inside their stance.
Exactly. And the simultaneous actions, guarding against a kick with one hand while securing the wrist with the other, it demonstrates a real economy of movement, doesn't it? And attention to multiple possibilities.
It really does. It's not just about muscling through. It's about getting into that optimal position and controlling a key point, the wrist, to initiate the loss of balance.
Precisely.
Okay, now let's look at a completely different attack. Tsuki Koshinage. This one begins with a thrust.
Right, Tsuki. So for Tsuki Koshinage, 1, when your opponent comes with a right thrust, step to the left, cover his right hand, and deliver an atemi strike to his right side.
Okay, an atemi right away.
Yes. Then 2, grasp his right hand, swing your right foot outward, and draw his arm over your head while using your left arm to guard against a kick. And step 3.
Same ending. 3, throw him over your hips.
Always. But this one feels quite different, doesn't it?
Yeah, the initial response is totally different. That sidestep and strike, the atemi, it immediately changes the dynamic. It's not a direct grappling entry like the shoulder grab.
Exactly. Notice how the response to a direct thrust is immediately more, well, proactive. It incorporates that strike, the atemi. This highlights a different tactical approach compared to just dealing with a static grab.
Meeting force differently.
Precisely. The inclusion of the atemi highlights a principle in Aikido of meeting force with redirection and often an initial disruption. Then, the subsequent steps involve controlling the attacking hand and a much more dynamic body movement, that outward swing of the right foot. It emphasizes a larger, sweeping motion to set up the hip throw.
And again, the awareness of a potential kick is still there. That seems consistent.
It does. Seems like a fundamental safety consideration.
Okay, one more just to really illustrate the variety. Shomanuchi Koshinage. This is where the opponent delivers a direct strike to the head.
Right, Shomanuchi. For this one, the manual states, 1, when your opponent comes with a right strike to your head, reach up with the left hand and grasp his sleeve with the elbow. And there's a note here. Note the angle change in photos.
Ah, okay. Good note.
Then 2, step in with your left foot and position your right foot between their legs. And finally,
Let me guess. 3, throw over your hips.
you got it.
So, what stands out to you with this one? For me, it's that initial reception of the strike. It's not a block, really. It's reaching up and grasping the sleeve at the elbow. And that note about the angle change in the photos is also a useful reminder, isn't it, of the limitations of just text. The visual adds crucial context.
That's a really key observation. That sleeve grip provides a totally different point of control compared to the wrist grip in the other examples we looked at.
Different leverage point.
Exactly. And this subsequent stepping action, it's somewhat similar to the Reo Katadori one, involving entering the opponent's space, disrupting their base,
Mm.
all to facilitate the hip throw. It just underscores that while the end goal of the hip throw is the same, the entry and the initial control methods have to adapt to the specific attack you're facing.
So even just from these three variations, we can clearly see, while the core principle, lifting and throwing from the hip, remains constant. The initial response, the body mechanics, the points of control, they're all tailored to the incoming attack.
Yeah, it's definitely not a one-size-fits-all approach.
No way.
And what's fascinating here is just how much information is packed into these seemingly simple numbered steps. It really implies a deep understanding of body mechanics, balance, leverage. Even though this is a technical manual, those underlying principles of Aikido, like harmony, redirection of force, efficient movement, they're clearly present, aren't they?
Absolutely. So bringing this back to you, our listener, who wants to gain knowledge efficiently, even through this really focused look at just one set of techniques in one specific manual. The fundamental importance of body movement, positioning, and control in Aikido's Koshinage becomes incredibly apparent.
Yeah, you really see it laid out.
Right.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this manual offers a well-structured and detailed way to understand a specific aspect of a pretty complex martial art.
Mm-hmm.
It's a testament, really, to the value of documenting and breaking down intricate movements into manageable steps. For you, our listener who appreciates structured learning, this manual serves as an excellent example, I think.
It also highlights, though, while a manual like this provides an invaluable framework, the truly dynamic and applied nature of Aikido really necessitates practical, hands-on training to fully internalize these concepts.
Oh, definitely.
You can read about it, you can look at the pictures, but you also need to feel it and practice it. It sounds so simple. Throw him over your hips. Right.
Deceptively simple.
Yeah. But what are some of the common pitfalls someone might encounter if they, don't understand the nuances behind that simple instruction? If they just try it from the book?
That's a great question. Well, often people might try to muscle the throw, using just their arms or maybe their back,
Yeah.
completely missing the crucial element of engaging the entire body and using the hips as the actual fulcrum.
Ah, I see. Trying to lift with the wrong parts.
Oh, exactly. Another really common mistake is incorrect timing or positioning before the throw. If you haven't set it up right, you won't get the proper transfer of power.
Right.
Without that solid base and that connection, that final throw can become really ineffective or worse, even put the person attempting it off balance themselves.
Which kind of defeats the purpose. This raises an important question then about the role of this kind of detailed technical documentation in preserving and transmitting martial arts knowledge across generations. I mean, think about the precision Saito Sensei was aiming for in capturing these techniques.
Absolutely. Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It does.
Considering the sheer effort that Morihiro Saito Sensei and Eiki Kai Nidobius put into meticulously documenting these Koshinish techniques, from the detailed steps to including all those photographs, what does this level of dedication really reveal about the commitment to mastery? And maybe the profound importance of precise instruction, not just in Aikido, but perhaps in, any field of expertise that you, our listener, might be exploring.
That's definitely something to consider.
Yeah, something to really mull over. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.